It's nice to meet everybody. My name is Kara. I'm an account manager here at freeconference.com, and I have Sarah with me as well. Um, there she is. She's taking her camera off.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, we're both working remotely, as you can see, and that these days, that's absolutely the lay of the land. We know without having to say what it is, why most people are working remotely these days. So this is going to be a really important tool. And so we do want to make it interactive. And I hope, Sarah, could you tell, it seems to me like everybody can unmute if they want to. It looks like everybody's in question and answer mode, but I'm going to go ahead and just unmute everybody for a moment, just to make sure. So now everybody's unmuted, and I will remute everyone, allowing you to unmute yourselves if you wanted to. So by that, I mean, you can just click on that little, that microphone, and that you'll see is grayed out when I mute you guys, and unmute yourself. If you want to ask a question, just ask a question. There's not many people here today. We want to help you out and make it meaningful for you. So please feel free to do that, or you can chat as well. Either way. There we go. Okay. All right, Ted, no problem. So you can chat. We can see your chats. And if you can hear us, that's awesome. Please chat us any questions you have. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things that maybe you haven't seen before in your settings, some things you can do to kind of make your experience a little bit better by presetting some features in there. So let me share my screen now. And we will go to my dashboard, which is just, of course, what's behind your user login. So you should have seen this hopefully many times, hosting many calls with us. And oh, look at this. I gotta talk to this pop-up, or it'll just keep popping up. So don't know if you've been able to fiddle with this yet, but we do have custom music hold. So you can choose from some really cool new playlists. I have like the 80s playlist on mine, but we've got jazz, I think easy listening, and just some other things you can cycle through, which makes your experience a little bit more personalized. And you can upload your own as well. So that's something that's available, and we're very proud of it, as you can see by our lovely animation right here. So just moving into your settings, that little button here. Some of these things you might have played with, maybe some of them you haven't. So just to pick a few of them that I think will make your experience a better one while you're hosting calls. So we call this pinless entry in SMS. It's just a really fancy way of saying you're going to get texts on your phone about your meetings. If you pop your mobile number here and turn it on, the system will text you when you've got a call that is scheduled that's about to happen. That is a fantastic feature for me. The more things that can go off and reminds me that I've got a meeting, the better, so I don't forget or don't get busy doing other things. Another great feature with this SMS is it will tell you if anybody's waiting in your room. So if you have a meeting scheduled at like 2 o'clock and someone pops in at 1:30, you'll see that. It'll say so-and-so is waiting in your conference room. Maybe they're just testing the system. Maybe they came in really early, but at least you'll kind of know what's going on there. We're also calling it pinless entry, because if you're just going to call into your meeting room, so if you're not going to join online, you're just using a phone, if you use that mobile phone that you had entered here, the system will know that you've got a meeting scheduled, and it's going to place you right into the call without any need at all to even dial your moderator pin. So the less things I have to push on my phone, the better, less chance of making a mistake. So it's a really nice feature that you can turn on. Again, since we're flashing and calling all kinds of attention to it, this is where you're going to find that custom hold music list. It's super easy to configure. Just pick which playlist you like and turn it on, and you'll see all the different music associated with it. Or if you've got your own, you can upload that file as well. I see a lot of possibility for this. If you I don't know, if you're a teacher, you could put some, educational message on the front end, or if you have, if you're selling things, like if you're a network marketer, you could put some information about your company there. So I just see a lot of potential with this custom hold music feature. So give it a try, work with it a little bit. Let's see. I think our recording and live streaming section has a lot of information. I'm going to backpedal a second and say that some of these features are going to be available in some plans and not others. So if for some reason you are on maybe the starter plan and you don't see that you can live stream or do anything cool like that, that just means you have to upgrade, which you can easily do by clicking on that. So that's why you may not see that feature there if you're in your settings and you're like, I know she talked about it, but it's not there. That's probably why. I like to automatically record all of my calls, and I will show you why in a few minutes. But first of all, it takes the stress off of me to remember to record my calls, because before we got this feature, I was always like, oh no, I didn't set it to record. This will automatically start that recording for you, so you don't have to worry about setting it. You can turn it off. If there's a call you don't want to record, you can always shut that down. So it's not like you have to record every call. It just means that it will automatically do it. And you see you've got some choices. You could just do the teleconferencing part of it or the online meeting. So it'll capture that whole MP4 experience for you as we're doing today. And we'll provide you with that recording after the fact, but that will allow you to get all of the visual included. And we wanted to demo this for you, but darn it, we're just not as prepared as we wanted to be. But you could actually automatically live stream your calls via YouTube. It's super easy anyway. You really just need to pop over to YouTube, get your YouTube Live dashboard account set up. If I can do it without the help of a teenager in my home, it's easy. So you should be able to easily get this piece of information from YouTube and your share URL. And once you save it, and you enable live streaming, you're basically broadcasting on YouTube. So you have an unlimited audience to share your meetings with if that's something that you want to do. It's really easy, and it's available, I think, on just the Pro plan. Our Q Smart summary, and this is like a fantastic feature. It really is. It is going to compile, I'm going to call it a transcript because it isn't going to be necessarily verbatim, but it's going to highlight and hashtag a lot of the topics that were covered in the meeting. So it's going to gather those frequently mentioned words. It'll gather enough for you to be able to identify the meeting that you were having. And it's going to create this searchable database of all of your calls. So remember, I said I record every meeting. That's why. Because I have this neat little search key here. And if I want to, I don't know, I'll just type in recording. I don't know what word to use. It's going to bring up all of the times that I said recording in my transcript. Anytime the recorder was on, anytime it was the title, it's going to show me all that information. And I can say, oh, I want to go back to this call. I want to see what this call was about where I said recording. I can even click on one of these other tags if I want to identify that part of the conversation. And then if I click on that word, it'll actually take me to that part of the call, which is same. So I can play it back from there. I use this probably every day. I'm always needing to go back and reference something that I talked about with a customer or client with our development team and listen to it again. And this saves me so much time because I'm listening to a minute of a call versus poking around back and forth trying to find that exact spot. So that's where you can tie in all of this recording and cue and transcription into your entire meeting experience. So I think that was my good hard sell on it, but I really do use it all the time. So let's see. Oh, security. So this is a big deal these days, right? Security, making sure nobody's in your meetings that shouldn't be. So we give you a few ways to do that. You can turn on what's called a security code. It's just an extra layer of numbers that will be required from your participants after your access code. So even if they're just dialing in, they'll have to enter, whatever code it is you decide that they have to enter. And if they are joining online, they'll still have to enter that code. So that just allows you that little bump in security. The other way that you can secure your calls is to create what's called a one-time access code. And you would do that in the scheduling process. So if you go through our scheduling wizard, you'll see that we have a security settings. And that is where you would be able to generate a one-time access code, meaning this code is going to be good for the day and time of that scheduled call only. If anyone dials your default access code or anyone tries to use this code after the meeting's done, can't get in. It's just for that call. You could even add a security code on top of that one-time code if you wanted to make it even that more secure. So that's all fully within your capability to control who's getting in to your meetings and who should not be in your meetings. So I think that's a really good feature too. So I think that's probably the highlights of the settings. Oh, wait, no, one more. Let's do moderator controls. So moderator controls is just a preset for you. So if you're having a call with 2 or 3 people and you know everybody can and should have the ability to talk, you're going to want to leave that in conversation mode, meaning that everybody's lines are open and everybody can talk. That's the default mode. So if you've never touched this before, that's how your calls will be set up. And then we have what I was doing with this call a little bit earlier. It was putting it into question and answer mode so that everybody's muted so I can do my presentation, but you can unmute your own line if you want to. So it allows for more of a Q&A environment. If you've got a really large call, so honestly, even if you've got 20 people, I would use presentation mode. Don't allow people to unmute their own lines. Use the raise hand feature. Call on them if you need to, but definitely control that environment because ambient noise, background noise, dogs barking, as we can attest to in my last webinar, my dogs made their presence known when Amazon showed up. So anything like that, you want to block out of your presentation by locking down all of the lines. So just a little bit about this front page. It's got everything here that you need to host a call. Right, we've already gone through you can go through the scheduling wizard and that will actually send out invitations for you. You can start an on-demand call online just by clicking on that button. You've got all of your dial-in information here. So your main dial-in number, your access code, your PIN, the online meeting room URL if you want people to join via the web, a full list of dial-in numbers. So as you probably already know, we've got a set of free numbers worldwide that you can use. We've got some others that are included in the paid plans, but those are all shown to you here and in various other places on the dashboard. You can click at a lot of places to find those dial-in numbers if you need to. Your front page is going to show you what calls you've got going on today. So if you've got more than one, they'll be listed here as well. And joining by access code. So if somebody else in the free conference universe has invited you to a call and you know their access code, you could just put that code in here and join the meeting online without having to worry about this online meeting room URL. You can also search. You can search your past calls. So it'll show you all the calls that you've had in the past, and you can view all kinds of information about them. Like this call, nobody attended it, so that's not very helpful. You can, let me say one where people might have been at. Okay, yes, this one. So for example, on this call, I can go back to that summary page that gives me all of this information that I need about the call, the topics, who attended, how long they talked, any documents that were shared during the call, any chat that we had would be there. So it's a really content-rich summary of every call that you've had. You can search through your upcoming calls as well, make changes to anything. If you need to add a participant, delete a call, something like that, that's where you would find the ability to make changes to existing calls. And our help section, I think, is the next, well, I'm sorry, the menu section. That includes our help section. Your address book, which would allow you to upload, say, a CSV file or add contacts or just build that book that you might use to invite people. So you can do that all there. You can also do it as you're scheduling, by the way. You can invite people as you're scheduling. You can find a database of your recordings are all here. So if you don't want to search through all your past meetings, those are going to be all located in the one recording spot for you. And that's where you can download them, get the link, share it with people, etc. Our apps. So no matter what device you have, we have an app for that. You can, you obviously are, I believe you're joining on Google Chrome, but you could also download a Windows or a Mac app. And if you have a mobile phone you want to join from, you can use the iPhone app or the Android app available in the Google Play Store as well. I don't know who uses Linux. I'm not even going to address that because that's a developer thing, and it's probably better for me not to be involved with that. But if you like that, you can do that as well. The connection test. This is a very important tool. This allows your you and your participants, because we send this test link out to everybody in the meeting invites, it allows them to start a very detailed diagnostic test that is going to walk them through things. So their speakers, can you hear the sound? Can you hear yourself speaking? Is your microphone working? Is your camera working? What's your bandwidth? So it's going to walk you through all of those things that are important to be able to join a webinar. And if something isn't working, you'll be able to identify it before the call starts and hopefully fix it then. So this is a really good tool to have, obviously for yourself, but even to have handy as a copy paste to send out to participants if they're having trouble joining the call. Oops, I'm back. I am back there. I'm afraid if I hit the back button, I'll just cancel it. There we go. Okay. We have a very dynamic help section as well. So we're going to give you a lot of ways that you can find the help you need without having to reach out to us. We have a large frequently asked questions section. You just type in the term and it'll give you information on sharing your screen or documents or what have you. So all that stuff that you can do is a self-help situation. A YouTube channel as well. If you'd rather watch videos than read FAQs, you could do that. You can always raise a ticket with us. So if you want to create a new support ticket for any reason, you can do that. We are very responsive. We go through those. We're always monitoring them for new reports that come in. So don't think that's something that's going to sit there. It's not. We're extremely responsive. And you can download a user guide as well. And we do have a status page that lets you know if anything is down. So I think that is a great way to get some help if you haven't been successful in some endeavor. I guess, rather than going through like, here's how you share your video, here's how you share documents, which you can do in the FAQ section, I'm going to stop and just see if anybody has any questions. If there's something that you want to cover that I did not cover now, do you want me to go through sharing how to share a screen or anything like that? So feel free to unmute your line or just put it in the chat. Nope, I don't see. Okay. Oh, wait, someone unmute. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, sorry, this is Ted.
Hey, Ted. Oh, you got on. Okay, great.
Yeah, I just figured I'd call with my line.
Sure.
So we mainly would use this for just straight up conference calls, not
screen
sharing or anything right now. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm just trying to make sure that I understand how it works, because it seems like we would still need to log in like online during the call in order to use it properly. Is that right?
Actually, I'm so glad you brought it up. That's a great point. I usually try to point this out, but I don't know, I got too excited about Q or something like that. You can definitely use this without logging in at all. You do not have to click any links, get into your account. You can simply take your dial-in number, and you're the host, obviously, so you would enter your moderator PIN, and others would enter the participant code and start a call that way. So there's no reason you have to log in if you don't want to. It just gives you some things you can enable and do.
So if we do it like that, how do we have a question and answer session? If we say we want to have everybody muted, but then at the end allow, how would we individually mute and unmute people?
So yeah, you can't do that if you're just online. You're not going to have the visibility into hand raising. Now, you as a participant can raise your hand by using *2. and I can see that as the moderator, but so at least you would have to be engaged online in some visual way to be able to mute, unmute, see hand raises, that kind of thing. You could just tell everybody, hey, we're going to put the call into question and answer mode now. So please unmute your lines and be respectful of other people. It's how we did it in the quote olden days before we had this raise hands, mute, unmute feature. It would just be like everybody would be able to unmute and people would just ask questions and remute their line. So you could do that. It's just not as organized. That's all.
So if I'm logged in and somebody raises their hand, I'll be able to see that online.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll.
Yep.
How will I know who that is? Do they say a name or something when they log in?
Yeah. So I think what you're asking is if nobody's online, you don't really see names, right? You're not going to see. You typed your name in. So Sarah has just raised her hand. So Ted, hopefully you're still viewing this as well. You can see here that Sarah raised her hand. And I can see that a hand has been raised. So I can look at that in the participant panel and say, oh, look, Sarah has a question. Let me answer her question. But you're talking about, I think, if you're online, but then everybody else is dialed in, how do you see who they are? Right. So there's kind of a two-part answer. The first part is if they have an account with us and you invited us, nope, it's still going to just give the caller ID. You're going to have to see their caller ID, but unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see their name. But we are coming out with that feature soon. So we're actually building it. It's called, I don't even know, what do we call it, Sarah? Like webinar features, I think, something like that. Do you know the specific name for that?
Yeah, I believe we haven't landed on an exact name, but
okay.
It's new features around the way numbers are presented and labeled. But
yeah,
if you can clearly see the same way that you can see the hand. If someone presses *2, you can see exactly who has raised their hand and unmute
correct.
them.
But it's just going to be a number. So, and how do
That's
they
right.
even know that they've been unmuted unless I say, hey, this number is
They'll
now
hear.
unmuted? So then I have to give everybody their phone number? Or they hear something?
They'll hear. It will say, well, like for example, if I mute you, you should hear that your line was muted. And then if you're on the phone, so Ted, go ahead, press *2 on your phone if you can. We'll just pretend maybe you can't. I don't know. If you press *2, your hand would go up, and I'd say, okay, let me. Oh, there you go. You got your hand raised. But did you hear the line say unmuted?
Yes. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, no problem. But it is on the right. It is on the way. And what it will look like is something they'll get an individual pin or something that will be able to tie them back to who they are. So that's what we're missing right now, the way to tie the number back to who they are. So that's what's going to happen in the next few months, and that there'll be a solution for you for that, just not right now.
Okay, thank you.
It's a great question. Yep, sure. Okay, so are there any other questions? Anybody else? Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your afternoon to join the webinar. We will send out the recording of this webinar once we have that edited. Since Sarah and I were chatting a little bit in the beginning, we'll edit that out for you and send this off to you. And we will also be notifying you of future webinars that we'll be holding as well if you'd like to join those. So thank you so much and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.